What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, the Mad, the Dashing, Dash Jovis, and today we're going to do a build and play. So I was thinking, we've already shown off Malice, Ryziel, and Fiendsmith Ryziel, and I don't have the cards for Despia, but the third best deck in terms of both win rate and popularity is Blue Eyes, according to Untap.gg data. This is data from Bronze all the way to Master, so it probably gets a little bit less effective if you're looking at just the Master data. But it's also the third best deck according to the tier list on Master Duel Meta. And I just wanted to take a look at building and playing Blue Eyes in the Rating Duels ladder and see how well we can do with Blue Eyes. So for starters, Blue Eyes. So you're basically always going to play two Blue Eyes White Dragon. You could play a third. I've seen some people play a third, but honestly it is a bit of a brick, so it's not necessarily worthwhile. And then you're always going to play the Primite cards if you have them. You know, sometimes I've seen people play Alistair the Invoker or some other engines like the Buster Blader engine, but 3 Ether Barrel, 3 Lordly Load, and at least 1 Drill Beam are basically always going to be included. And I actually think 2 Drill Beam and a Primite Roar might not be bad to run as well. Then we want Mausoleum of White, and then Blue Eyes cards. So 2 Maiden and 2 Sage, pretty obvious. And we definitely want 1 Majesty, we definitely want 1 True Light, we definitely want 1 Roar, and then we're going to want all 3 Wishes, because Wishes is full combo. And then I'm probably going to go larger than 40 cards for this build, just to kind of mitigate the number of bricks you want to run. And so I am going to want some other starters. And my preference in the last few formats has been to go Neo Kaiser Seahorse. It's actually not a great starter. You could go for something like, what's it called? Piri Res Map. But this plays really poorly into Droll, right? And if you get Drolled after Piri Res Map, you basically can't play. And so that's... I'd rather run Neo Kaiser Seahorse and kind of have the advantage of chain blocking and not being as weak into Droll, than run the Piri Res Map. The other thing you could run is, which I don't actually own, but Bingo Machine Go to search for wishes. That's full Blue Eyes combo as well. But again, that plays really poorly into Droll, so I don't think it's necessarily what you want to be doing. I think we're definitely running Bestial Magnamute. We definitely want some number of Effect Failure. Let's say just put all 3 Effect Failure in, because that's kind of engine. Then we want Spirit with Eyes of Blue. I like to run 3 Spirit with Eyes of Blue. I think it's you'll sometimes use 2 of them on your first turn in order to be able to make a Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, and then you want 1 more for the follow-up turn. You don't necessarily need to play 3. You could get away with 2, and maybe when the Ancient Fairy Dragon that can attack well in defense position gets printed in a Master Duel, I will want to run that over the 3rd Spirit, but for now I think 3 Spirit with Eyes of Blue is important. And I like to run 3 Spirit Dragon, because sometimes you're going to make 2 Spirit Dragon at the start of your turn, or like on turn 1 I mean, and then you'll make 1 Spirit Dragon later on in the game, or vice versa, you'll make 1 Spirit Dragon on your first turn, and then you'll want to be able to make 2 on a follow-up turn. You definitely want to run 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. You know, it's kind of an important part of your engine. And I'm definitely going to want to have Lightstorm Dragon in the extra deck. And at that point, the question becomes, do you want to run Crimson Dragon with, what's it called? Stardust, Sifred Divine Dragon? Yeah, there, that one. Stardust, Sifred Divine Dragon? Or do you want to run, what's it called? Azure Eyes. The nice thing about Azure Eyes is that you're not running 2 bricks in the extra deck, because if you're running the Crimson Dragon stuff, basically if you get Kashtira Unicorn and they rip your ultimate Spirit Dragon, they've cut you off of almost all of your Spirit Dragon targets. But, so I tend to prefer running the Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, especially because it frees up space in the extra deck. But you could be on the Crimson Dragon stuff if you wanted a little bit more power going first and something to do against Tenpai, especially Board Breaker Tenpai. I think we're just going to go for the Azure Eyes right now. And then Baron de Fleur is really important to have in this deck as long as it's legal. Making Baron de Fleur with a Spirit Dragon or an Azure Eyes and a level 1 tuner like Maiden of White is really clutch, and it will win you games. We want Seal, Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. That's a pretty important card. And we want Typhone. Even though we are going to be a Dominus Purge deck, you know, the most important part about Typhone is that it stops Detonator from activating its effect, and that will still happen if you use the Dominus Purge. What else do we want in the extra deck? We're missing a few things, I think, but I'm having trouble thinking of what they are at the moment. Well. I guess we could run a second Seal, or we could run Lina. Lina's not terrible right now. No, Lina for the Detonator could actually come in clutch. I mean, mostly you're just making Spirit with Eyes of Blue and Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, right? That's 90% of your game plan, and then the rest is mostly Seals. So yeah, why don't we, but I am seeing some space in the extra deck right now, and I'm not sure what I'm missing, so why don't we put the Crimson Dragon stuff in here just for now. Stardust. And then if we're running that stuff, you don't really need the Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. It's still not a terrible card, but generally speaking, the Sifred Divine Dragon will be doing what you would be doing with it anyway. It does have the advantage of summoning Blue Eyes out of your graveyard, but you already have ways to do that, so it's not a big deal. What else would be good to run in the extra deck? I know I'm missing something that I normally run, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Well, maybe we do just go Lina and SP. And then I will, I guess the other thing you could do is you could run Zeus if you're running Talent. So like steal their Detonator with Talent and then make Zeus. Yeah, let's try that for the extra deck, and then after playing a game we'll see what I'm missing, and after playing some games we'll see what I'm missing and we'll just add them in. So we're at 30 cards right now, and we obviously want Dominus Purge and Imperm. Oh, you know what? I figured out what we're missing. Let's Blue Eyes. We're missing the 2 Tyrant Dragon and the 1 Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. So at that point you have exactly enough space for Azure Eyes. Alright. Because with the Tyrant Dragon looping trap cards, you want Imperm and Dominus Purge. And obviously Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon giving you targeting protection on your your Blue Eyes monsters is actually pretty solid. Your actual Blue Eyes gets targeting protection from True Light anyway, but extending that targeting protection to Spirit Dragon or Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon is actually pretty good. I think Droll is really good right now, especially in a deck that's already running Drill Beam and Imperm, and so I'm thinking let's go for some number of Droll. I really like Forbidden Droplet in this meta. It's been doing a really good job for me. So at this point we're at 42 cards, but again, we've got so much engine in our deck. We could go to 41 cards and cut the Neo Kaiser Seahorse and just call it good, but I am inclined to keep putting cards in. Ash, Maxi, Called By, and Crossout. So we're 25 engine, 25 non-engine, and that's 21 hand traps in a 50 card deck. That's a pretty good ratio of hand traps. This is basically the build I've been playing of Blue Eyes. You could try and trim it down. You could do things like getting rid of the Roar and the second Drill Beam and the third Neo Kaiser Seahorse, and then no Droll, and then 2 Effect Veiler, and maybe cut Talent, and then you're back at 42 cards. But I actually do like having more non-engine. I lose a lot of coin flips, and it's just totally worthwhile to have more non-engine in the deck. And hyper consistency is actually not the most important thing in the world compared to having the nice ratios of your going second cards. You still end up being relatively consistent, and I'd rather occasionally brick and actually have hands that can compete going second than be really laser focused on going first and lose every time I lose a coin flip, right? What am I missing? Veiler. Third Veiler. Neo. Kaiser Seahorse. And let's just denote that this is Primite Blue Eyes, even though realistically it's all Primite Blue Eyes. So we'll just get some accessories going here. I have the Blue Eyes deck box, so that is kind of nice. I have the Ultimate Dragon sleeves. Gonna apply the Striking Stratagem simulation. Just gonna keep my normal profile. We'll go for the Pot of Greed coin. We'll make our 3 main cards: Spirit Dragon, Ether Barrel, Maiden, because that's basically the deck. Alright, so now we hop over into Rating Duels, and we'll just see how we do with Primite Blue Eyes in Rating Duels. Alright, lost the first coin flip. That's alright, our deck is kind of built for that. Let's hope we see some hand traps. Well, we saw a couple hand traps. In this format, seeing 2 hand traps is kind of problematic. It's not, it's often not enough to get past 1 play plus an extender. I think I am going to use my Dominus Purge here before they get a Light Fiend in the graveyard for Fiendsmith Engraver. And then we still have Effect Veiler for the normal summon. Oh, no normal summon. Alright. Effect failure. Rhino Heart. Soviet. Guaris the Timeless, okay. Does that get them into their tier element stuff? Oh, it does, because they added Soviet. Jeez. Oh, and they happen to mill the Hobness, of course they do. Well, we're probably not winning this game. I could have saved the effect failure for the Kit Kalos. Maybe that would have been better. Especially with them already having snow in their graveyard, it seems pretty likely we're just cooked here, even if their mills aren't great. And with so many mills, their mills are going to be good. I mean, they already have the Black Goat Laughs and snow in their graveyard. Now they've got a Shuffler, they've got more Fiendsmith cards. Yeah, that's spooky. Spooky, spooky. Well, they've made Rukalos, that's scary. And then they're gonna mill 6. Oh no, Link 2ing into sequence. I guess they'll make Lacrima and then mill 6? Makes sense. Makes sense. The mill 5, I think actually it is Pilgrim Reaper. Yep, Pilgrim Reaper, there we go. Alright, let's see if we get something good. Didn't really mill anything good for us. We've got a Shuffler to deal with, we've got the Black Goat Laughs to deal with, we've got Snow to deal with, we've got Rukalos to deal with. just making Appaloosa and passing? What's happening here? They're making Appaloosa. So I don't see how we're beating this, but you know, you lose 100% of the games you don't try and win. So let's give it a go. Couldn't have top-decked Drill Beam, eh? Alright. Ether Barrel. Well, activate Maiden of White. And that's game, folks. Alright, we're at about 20 minutes. Maybe we can try another game or two, and then we'll call it a day. Not the best showing for Blue Eyes, but I guess I probably should have held the effect failure for Kit Kalos, but it's hard to say for sure. Certainly what I did not win me the game. Another coin toss lost. This hand is actually pretty good. Only one hand trap, but you know, sometimes one hand trap is enough. Branded Regained. Lure of Darkness. Well, let's try it. So another game that is looking like we're very unlikely to win. But we have this Drill Beam, so even though they're going to have Appaloosa plus the full board, or, I mean, they might go a Baoku. It's hard to say. I've seen people on a Baoku and, oh man. Every time they don't play around Nibiru, I don't have Nibiru. I guess I didn't put Nibiru in this version of the deck. Maybe I should have. But alright. I don't think it would change the problem. I think I would still just not have Nibiru when my opponents didn't respect it, and have Nibiru when my opponents did respect it, right? Like, it doesn't seem actually that good in the format right now. But even when Nibiru is pretty bad, it's still pretty good, so, you know. So now, are they making Appaloosa? Is it the Appaloosa build? I'm kind of hoping it is. What did they set? They set GWC. Yeah, they are making Appaloosa. We're going to be drawing 4 cards throughout the course of this combo. That's pretty scary. Ow. Slash mage. You're locked to the cybers now. That's not the worst thing to see in the world. Plate binder. Banish my effect failure. Oh, no banishes. Okay. Fair enough. Reset GWC. Yeah, and then are you on Dark Fluid? That's the next question. They are on Dark Fluid, yeah, so this game is basically lost. Yeah, there goes the save worm. Alright. With this Called by the Grave, maybe we can do something here. And that is a good top deck. That's just about the best top deck I could hope for. So maybe we have a shot. I'm going to Called by the Grave. D-Save Worm. Draw another card, so that's the 5th card they've drawn this duel. But I have gotten through their negates now. Almost on in Primite Dragon Ether Barrel effect. Now they're going to banish my Drill Beam, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of what happens when you go second against Malice, unless you see very specific cards. One of the big problems with facing Malice in this metagame is that, and this is the thing that kind of has made it the best deck in the format de facto, is that to stop Malice, you need, like, Fuelost, Maxi, and those have to resolve, or you need Lancia, and you can't necessarily afford to be main decking Lancia in a best-of-1 format when that's only 25% of your matches that are going to be against Malice. Maybe I should have just crammed some Lancia in here anyway and just, you know, hope to draw it in the right matchup. It is still useful in other matchups, especially if you're playing a hand trap build, because it can negate Called by the Grave and Crossout. Or not negate them, but just prevent them from resolving properly. But yeah, this is just, we're just cooked here. Spirit with Eyes of Blue, Spirit Effect. Yeah. Okay. Roar of Blue-Eyed Dragons. Summon Blue Eyes. They get to draw another card and search a card and banish a card. Okay, activate Maiden of White. Place True Light. But there's nothing I can really do with the True Light. Honestly. Because they banished my Blue Eyes. They're just going to disable him anyway. Okay, good enough. Can't say I didn't try. So yeah, that wasn't the best showing for it, but that is kind of what happens when you go second without enough hand traps a lot of the time. And again, even though half my deck is non-engine, you need to see 3 hand traps to realistically stop a play plus an extender. Against that hand, I would have needed to see like 4 hand traps and a 1-card starter to have any chance of playing the game. So I don't feel so bad about my showing. But that puts us at about 30 minutes, so that's all I needed to see in terms of recording time. So I don't think this is necessarily the best build of Blue Eyes. I think a good build of Blue Eyes could still do relatively well on the ladder, but I think I've been having some of the worst possible luck this last month, and maybe I should have played the Tier Elements game a little bit differently and held the effect failure for the Kit Kalos. So it didn't really, hitting the Tier Element main deck monster didn't really actually serve me that well in that game. Alright, well, thanks for watching everybody. I'll see you next time, and have a good life. Peace out.